Katowice, welcome back. And of course, all of you guys at home, hope you guys are fiercely tweeting, getting ready for game 2. Yeah, let's get some energy back in here. We've still got a lot of games to go through, and I don't want this energy to ever dip down. But before we go into game number 2, we have, like you guys, we have another poll for you. Who do you think is gonna get first blood in this next game? Will Bjergsen get that solo kill against Faker? We don't know, but we want you to guess. Let us know with the hashtag IEM, and we'll see who's kind of in the lead as we go into the map. But for now, going back over to the desk to find out what's gonna be the picks and bans for game number 2.
Thank you very much, Chabro. We are about to find out who will pick up that first blood. Before that, though, picks and bans. Team Solo Mid this time round are on the blue side, and SKT move over to red. So target banning can, I want to say help TSM, but how on earth do you target ban SKT?
Apparently you banned Bard after that one game, which...
It was not just one game though, it was also ever playing it, and TSM really showing that they have issues as a single person dodging skill shots sometimes. With Bard, obviously you need 2 people to dodge in unison because you can actually screw over your teammates, so that maybe that's why.
It's just such a problem for the pick and ban phase when you have to, on red side, have specific target bans against certain players, and then you give stuff like Braum over to Wolf, which in my opinion has been an even better support for him if you look at the entire split. So yes, it might be Team Solo Mid saying we don't know how to properly play against Bard, we can't beat it in lane, we would have to force a lane swap or whatever it is. It is still an issue that you have to ban in the way, because we have that luxury of your SKT. There's nothing you have to ban.
Yeah. So they can just remove things that will disrupt their possible team compositions. The players are in the lobby, and I mean, what do you do? Team Solo Mid, they went away from that Quinn previously. What's going in their heads, Crepo?
I think SKT have shown that they're better at closing the game out, they're better at controlling the mid game. So for me, TSM needs to shift to a full-on early aggression composition, because they have also shown that they can actually kill some of the SKT members when they can push out the lanes, you know, surprise them. Faker got roamed down, Faker got in a little bit of 2v2 skirmish there with Blank, and then Svensson had a good kick flash. So TSM can find these openings, they just need to have the champions to really be able to exploit that. I think in every lane, just go full on aggro, aim for winning lanes everywhere and hope to snowball, because if you go even, that is just like the guys on the desk said during the game, SKT style. Fall a little bit behind, just a wee bit, and then turn on the fire in the mid game.
And everything comes from mid lane, in my opinion. If their jungle mid synergy between Bjergsen and Svensson is working and they have like a LeBlanc, Lee Sin combo, once you win mid game, or mid lane, as we saw in the game before, you can start roaming to other lanes. And that forces then suddenly Wolf and Bang in the bottom lane to back away. That opens up for suddenly the Ezreal to actually push a tower. And like everything comes from mid lane here if you are Team Solo Mid, and they have to be able to win that 2v2.
And if you are roaming then, instead of roaming to put some pressure, you can actually turn that roaming to a dive if you have winning lanes in the side lanes. That's why push prio is so important in this metagame.
Well, we are into picks and bans, gentlemen, and TSM have removed Bard, Nidalee, and Lulu. Kalista is still up and available. If they wanted to remove that, it would be SKT's priority to do so. They have banned out Kog'Maw and Lissandra, and they will hit Yellowstar where it hurts. Alistar's gone.
Kalista is open now. That's also why they take away Alistar.
Yeah, they want to trade it for the Braum.
Yeah, they want to trade like Kalista for Braum. Kalista Braum in a lane is actually super strong itself for TSM if they get it. The Nidalee Lulu, again, it's kind of what we talked about coming into this. I like the Nidalee ban against Blank because I actually think it can shut down Svensson to a certain degree. He has to wait for level 6 on Lee Sin before he can do anything, but Lee Sin is still open for him, so I think Kalista has to be the first pick here.
I would actually like a Braum Nautilus as a reply to that on the other side. I know we've seen some of the Trundle picks, but I think Juke can just play Nautilus well enough, and it completely shuts down any aggression that Doublelift can try in teamfights. Trying to play Kalista into Nautilus Braum is so like disgusting almost.
Corki is open again though.
Yeah, that's true.
And they put so much priority on last game. The flex picking option it gives you, especially when you're on red side, if you get one flex pick, it's so much easier to get counter picks actually for both your lanes. And that makes it super good here for SKT now to see more picks coming from TSM. So we mentioned Braum. I think Braum is just too good in these fights. And Wolf plays it too well. And the same actually happened for more yesterday with QG. Whenever they had this Braum in fights, it's just you can see the impact every single time from a well-played Braum. And now Yellowstar, his champion pool would normally be Alistar and then most likely Braum. Last time he went for Janna. when he couldn't. But you don't really want to play Janna into Corki. It's kind of useless. Like, hey, we're going to disengage your rockets. No, that doesn't work.
So what does Yellow Star decide to fall back to? Will he go to Thresh if he's under pressure? We've seen that a few times.
Morgana could work
Morgana,
too.
yeah.
I think if you want to have what we were talking about, push, the potential to make some picks here, some CC in the fights that you can then opt out of. You don't want to go fully commit. Morgana could be a nice pick.
Don't like Janna at all.
No.
I think Morgana is way better here, as Greg was saying.
You need to kind of play like Immortals. Like your lanes need to play beyond reason. They need to really extend far forward, and then the Janna comes into guys. Hang on, guys. Sometimes it's a little bit too deep, but I don't think that's TSM's kind of style.
But remember how SKT plays teamfights with Braum. They tack it onto one of the damage dealers, and that means your damage dealers can go aggressive on that target and burst him down and stun him and win that trade in a teamfight itself. Morgana would, in many ways, stop that with the Black Shield. And
well, unfortunately, gentlemen, it was not locked in, and we continue to criticize TSM's draft.
It's champion pool, I feel.
Or champion pool.
She is hard to play.
They're kind of synonymous with one another. SKT, they've locked in Gragas for Blank and Poppy for Duke. So Poppy into Fiora.
But it still gives, though, the Janna pick. We can't... we have to state that it's just so much power in lane. Like, two auto attacks plus a nado plus then a rend execute is like half your HP gone, and then at that point the enemy that is being attacked hasn't even had the chance to auto attack you once. Like, it is a super strong trade. It loses a little bit to all-ins, but right now if you can generally predict them, so push poke.
Do you think there's any possibility that that combo can even happen with double lift yellow versus bang wolf?
I mean, it has to. You can't, like, at this point, you can't just say, no, we can't play these comps here, we can't play 2v2 properly. You have to draft into it and then trust in your team to honestly win that 2v2. I think Lee Sin is going to be the pick, obviously, for Sven. His comfort pick, I like it. Liked it a lot in the last game.
Blind TF, though, on the side.
And no LeBlanc picked by Bjergsen this time, even though he actually took it.
I mean, is that calling
blind last time?
Is that calling the bluff, Corki, saying, right, put Corki on bang and then allow a counter pick for Faker?
Potentially.
I think if the Corki goes to bang and SKT lane swap, they counter pick for Faker. I think they have a really good opening here.
I was about to say, you can actually go Zed here, because Corki goes AD carry, that's the 70% magic damage.
I was about to say that, you know, when the pick comes in,
it's just
but
about
you were
to say
waffling away. No, okay, so I am kind of cheating, because I actually Zed for the last like 4 games. We're like, oh, they could probably Zed here, and then it actually happened yesterday, and I was like, yay!
That's
and now
the official script,
again.
it's like one paper.
Yeah, it's like Zed. Just say it every time there's a chance.
Pick Zed. So there is a chance that TSM can make this team composition work. How big is it, or will SKT 2-0 and advance the championship final?
I mean, in team fights, Janna is the counter to Zed at least. That's something.
I mean, you have a massive 1-3-1 comp here from TSM, but actually the same from SKT with Poppy one side lane, Zed in the other one. Zed split push does get affected quite a lot by TF being in there, but problem is, who's going to sit against the Zed? TF with Hourglass is going to be the defensive one, just trying wave clearing, and then you got to port away from him and like make plays globally on the map.
For TSM to win this, I think they need to predict the lane swap, win the 2v2 top with no jungle interaction, have Svenskeren start at the opposite side of Hanser, and then level 3 gank the bot 1v1. I think that's like kind of the only way, and then somehow Blank needs to AFK in all that time. He just needs to do
so much pressure on Team Solar Mid. Gentlemen, sorry to cut you off. We are going to go to a quick break, and when we return, TSM versus SKT.
It's all on me, gonna own it. Running to the top now, I won't stop. 'Cause I'm the light in the darkness. I'm the bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Gonna let me get some. Never gonna back down. Never gonna break forward. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships here in Katowice. It is the semi-finals. SK Telecom are now 1-0 up over Team Solo Mid, and Faker is playing Zed.
So, fun Faker facts. This is my favorite, statistical journey in League of Legends most of the time. He is professionally undefeated on Zed. He is 7-0. It is his highest professionally undefeated champion at this point in time, now that his LeBlanc was defeated about 9 months ago at MSI. So certainly one of his best champions of all time. The last pick there coming into the Twisted Fate, and he's not even going to play his own skin of SK Telecom Zed.
That's really it, man. I mean, if you go Zed, why not just go for your skin? I mean, go all out, dude. Oh, Blank is there. Bjergsen walks up. Faker with a bit of a bait. There's a gold card onto Blank. Gets stunned in. Goes for the body slam. They really commit to the damage, but Bjergsen taking quite a bit himself.
Is going to let Fiora, Hanser get a deep ward into the top side, so they will have some idea as to the jungle pathing here. Coming in from SKT. All the members of SKT now walking up into the top jungle.
Interesting.
That's a good reaction. So Bjergsen went really aggressive in the first game in the mid lane. So they were going, okay, we're going to be warded, but we'll be close. If he does this again, we'll make him pay. And they almost managed to make it work out. But yeah, Faker Zed. So you cast a pretty popular clip with Zed before.
Yeah, it was a different time, D-Man. It was a time where you could see 2 Zeds in one game.
Oh,
yeah. Those times will never come again.
The golden
sadly.
era.
Yeah, blind pick has been officially destroyed.
Yep.
As of this year.
Rip blind pick. Oh well. Wolf coming into being annoying to Svenskeren as he tries to start his jungle, and Bang is right there as well. Hanser coming from behind, but Svenskeren just pushed off the Wolves for a minute, and this is not going to stop anytime soon, unless you're talking about right now, and then it might stop right there.
But flash burned early. That's a very early flash for Lee Sin. It's not going to happen too badly, but...
And TSM had vision over that coming into the river early on, and just based on how Korean teams tend to lane swap, you have to assume that they're going to be coming in, especially when you have a champion like Braum there in the jungle, or in the level 1. So a little bit sloppy there. Svenskeren are going to take some hits, and it's going to be a bit challenging for him now. We'll be a little bit behind when it comes to this early jungle.
This Yellow Star or this Janna for Yellow Star rather. Now, we don't see Janna played by Korean teams at all. Why is that?
I just don't think it's very strong right now. When you want to accelerate the game, a lot of these melee supports who are very tanky, especially Alistar, when you're talking about trying to pick up kills or objectives via diving. Also, the game is generally played with a lot of AD carries and a lot of poke these days, which means that, as of course the expert desk was saying, that the Janna ult doesn't become particularly useful in these scenarios. So I just don't think it's that great overall. Now, because the Zed was picked, it will be useful. As you see, Wolf accidentally take a couple turret shots here. That's a big mistake. But won't slow them down too much, as in the lane swap, nothing likely to befall Wolf in that side of the map. TSM gets back on course, and they are going to be able to just take out this turret. So the flash from Svenskeren, it's not going to affect too much when all is said and done. Bjergsen also has a chance to go back and pick up a second Doran's Ring early, so very concerned with winning this mid lane matchup.
Yeah, very early buy, actually. Faker obviously stuck around, no reason to go back. This will be the 2 towers going down. So, first one, Hanser. Go on, get the last little hit. There we go. Just let the minions have it, why not? Didn't want to take the glory.
And SKT doesn't pick up that turret yet. They're going to be a little bit slower on that one in the lane swap.
Yeah, well, they were a little bit delayed by the pressure they were putting on in the jungle, but see how fast they can actually get up here. Duke is going to be left alone. However, Hanser will get a few more minions now that Duke is going to have to check this out. Back off, sees the Sentinel, takes a spear there from Doublelift, and they drop a ward deep in the lane just to make sure that they know exactly who's going to be there. Svenskeren now coming up to the top lane, actually. Duke may have let this go just a little bit too far.
Svenskeren just coming up behind as well. This is scary stuff. Does manage to get caught out. Is it going to be enough to slow him down? Doesn't look like it. And Duke would just stroll away. No panic whatsoever. So, Bjergsen keeping the blue cards ticking away on Faker there, but getting that max damage and mana reward, but not a great deal else.
Yeah, Blank and Wolf's coming up to support Duke here. Oh, Yellow Star gets hit with the Braum Q. Got to be careful there. Return Whirlwind.
That was just Braum doing damage to Yellow Star. That's scary how weak Janna can
She's
be
squishy.
early game, yeah.
And look at what SKT is doing. So they're not going to actually trade into this turret pressure. They send Duke back top with the teleport, and what they're doing is they're trying to power up this Corki early. So Corki is one of those AD carries that really benefits from having early levels. So the solo experience, getting him that level 6 faster is much more beneficial, but TSM's going to try and punish this.
The Yellow Star took a turret shot there. Here comes the teleport for TSM. SKT just falling back under turret. They're going to go for it. Gold card onto Wolf. Double lift is right there as well. Faker comes up. TSM on the wrong side of the tracks, but it looks like they might be able to get out.
But they're losing so much by not playing around this bottom lane, and they use that teleport. So if Bang pushes this up right now, they can deny quite a few minions just into that tier 1 turret in the bottom side. Bang not actually going to be pushing this that aggressively, but now Hauntzer just can't get down to that bottom lane quite fast enough. So Bang is really starting to come away, get that level advantage early on, and SKT just reacts well in the top side.
Yeah, very near disaster there for TSM. I mean, we saw Yellow Star taking the tower hit very early on in the fight, going low, so he couldn't go back and exchange it. And then suddenly, what have you got left with? Well, you got a Twisted Fate and a Kalista. Well, neither have got hit points. They don't want to trade the tower hits. And when Faker comes around behind you, you get a little shiver up your spine as you realize we may have made a mistake here, boys.
Yeah, Hauntzer actually is going to collect a lot of the CS, so that's good. He didn't actually lose too much. Bang was not pushing out, I think, as fast as he could or should have in that particular instance. Bjergsen does have level 6 now, so they can try and make a play again onto Duke if they so choose. But Faker now fading down into the bottom side with Blank's Gragas here.
And Blank's seen by a ward, so Hauntzer knows he's coming in. And yeah, he just backs off. Be safe. Probably a good decision. So just back to more farm in the mid lane for Faker and Bjergsen. Bjergsen getting a little bit zoned out for the moment.
Oh, they're so scared at this point in time. They know Blank is just lurking down there. Is finally going to clear out the ward that was placed over the wall, has that pink, get the deep vision in. Wolf there on the other side does manage to find Svenskeren over near the Raptors, but Duke is getting some more just free time in this top side. You can really start to see that there is a CS differential developing. Bang was left alone for a really long time in the bottom lane.
Speaking of things changing throughout the years in League of Legends, I remember the old days with Twisted Fate. You used to ward just either side of him, just to keep a track of his motions. The fear of a Twisted Fate arriving in those lanes. Nowadays, nobody gives a rat's what Bjergsen does, really. They're just watching where he goes. But Bjergsen himself, is nothing against him. He's played absolutely magnificent throughout this tournament. But yeah, Twisted Fate, just not quite the powerful, scary monster that it used to be with the Globals.
Yeah, well, we'll probably still see some of those wards going down. I mean, you do see a couple there right behind the red buff, so they're trying to keep eyes on him right now, but it's all about just denying the vision so that if Zed leaves lane, there is that opportunity.
Hello, Svenskeren, and he finds Blank in the jungle. Blank jumps on him immediately, backs off. It's not the engage they were looking for. But Bjergsen ready with that gold card right away. Of course, Bjergsen taking a hit from the Q, but that Braum passive not going to get set off. SK Telecom probably smart not pursuing that one any more than they needed to.
Yeah, so there's not much that TSM can do right now. They could maybe try and make a play topside, but notice where Blank is positioned. He's there in the enemy jungle. He chunked out Svenskeren already, and now it does make it a little bit more dangerous, especially with this Fiora in the bottom side. Duke just going to push that wave all the way into the turret, so no opportunity to freeze. A little bit of a dangerous path here for Duke. Taking a risk, especially with Bjergsen having that ultimate up, and Faker moving down to the bottom side, but it won't be punished.
Yep, Double Lift should be able to back away from this one. He has got Yellow Star nearby. Just try and turn that around. Hello, where are you going to go, Bjergsen? Just getting a little bit of vision, I think. Global vision to figure out. Doesn't dash off, just saying, yep, Faker's definitely not in my lane anymore.
You know,
has wandered.
A big part of what happened, too, is that Gragas took the blue buff, and TF without his blue buff is going to have problems.
Yeah, well, what we're looking at, too, is that Faker went down because he had that pink ward into the bottom side river, and Gragas came to hold mid during that time period. So that actually scared them that Zed might be going for some sort of play down bottom and prompted that TF ult to come up. In the meantime, Blank just still making Svenskeren's life miserable here. He's always in the right place at the right time. He bought time for Duke to get out of the jungle, immediately covered mid so that Faker had an opportunity to roam, and now he's down on the bottom side of the map. Faker coming to join him. They just want to take this turret. They don't really care about getting the kills.
I feel like a little bit of PTS is going to start kicking in for Sven soon, because everywhere he goes in his own jungle, every bush he goes into, Blank is stood there waiting for him, belly slam to the face.
That's right.
Hasn't yet made him punish him yet, but it's coming. It's coming. The damage is building.
Well, Gragas is a big guy, too. You don't expect him to be in there. It's definitely alarming, I think, if you're Svenskeren. And blue buff for SKT going to be taken by Blank as well. So, yeah, just denying that blue buff to Bjergsen is going to be tough to deal with in SKT. I mean, look at the wards they have on the bottom side of the map. They've got such control, and I feel like they can kind of go grab Dragon whenever they want at this point, huh?
Well, I think they just really want to take down this bottom tier 1. I mean, it's so low already. Why not just go ahead and take that? You don't need to take an early Dragon here. You're going to be pretty confident about your ability to play. Yellowstar's going to face check that brush.
That's a lot of damage in onto that Janna. What do you expect from Corky Braum? And so Fate's Call has to be used just to keep Yellowstar alive.
Yeah, and that's a good trigger, surely, for this Dragon. We can see them. They're going to keep the pressure on. TSM already backing away hesitantly, and now we're seeing something at the top here. Hornsat wants to go for it. Grand challenge goes down. Svenskeren, that's the kick. There we go. Duke misses out his ulti, and First Blood will come in, and it does go to Hornsat. Much needed gold as well, because he was falling desperately behind in lane.
Yeah, going to get that First Blood, and that is really crucial because that's one of TSM's primary win conditions in this game, is getting that Fiora split push moving and actually trying to close out the game that way. In response, though, SKT will take a turret and the Dragon, so the First Blood not actually going to be particularly meaningful in this case, but it's a nice way to get Hanser back in this game, and if they can just hold out until that late game, they can make plays around the Fiora onto Duke. Team fighting still might be a bit of an issue because TSM doesn't actually have a tank here. Faker, of course.
Oh, Faker going back in onto Bjergsen. Now exhaust used as he gets kicked back by Svenskeren. Nice response by TSM. Bjergsen barely surviving the ignite there. That was close, but Svenskeren saves the day. Here comes Bang for the return kill. And he might be able to get Svenskeren as well. Some minions blocking. Svenskeren manages to get out just in time.
Yeah, a little bit of a cocky play by Faker there. Two questionable plays made by SK Telecom. First off, Duke didn't have any wards in his side of the jungle, so made that gank easy, and they really had no idea where Svenskeren was on the map before Faker attempted that all in, so he will go ahead and give up the ghosts early on, but the kill goes over to Sven and not to Bjergsen, so it's not really going to help this Twisted Fate get too powered up.
Yeah, meanwhile, a kill on Bang is nothing that SKT can complain about, I suppose.
Yeah, he went with the early call this game. We're seeing that more and more in these lane swap scenarios, no matter the champion. We've seen SK Telecom try and run the call, even on champions like Kalista. Seen the call first before tier on blue build Ezreal, so that item really moving up in priority when you have a lane swap and sort of just the freedom to farm it up and not worry too much about any kind of early action. Here we go again.
Oh, Bjergsen, that's a little too deep, even for you. No way he was going to get out of that. They don't really know what he was planning there. Just strolling up lane when there's 3 members of SKT just stood watching.
Well, honestly, Blank and Wolf have made this game extremely difficult for Bjergsen. They're really targeting him out. You'll notice that they had control over the river brushes in terms of pink wards and kept the enemy ward free pretty much this entire game. And that means it's very dangerous for him.
Yeah, Yellowstar having to be pulled back in with the Fate's Call again. Double lift engages. They get the 2-man knockup. The Whirlwind helping out with the CC as well. Blank might be in a little bit of trouble here. Braum ultimate use. Here comes Bang to reinforce the SK Telecom delegation. Duke coming from the side. There's a kill on each side right now.
Duke and Hanser were dueling at it. There still are around the side there. They've been going back and forth. This is a double fight going on right now. Bjergsen will get slowed down. It does look like they're going to be able to escape this one. Does look like Duke was coming out. I mean, they were fighting in the jungle. Svenskeren is not letting this go. He's going to continue chasing it. He wants to find Bang. He's found himself Wolf, and there is Bang. Well, you wanted it. You're going to get it. Now you're going to have to get out of there alive. This is buying time for pressure on the mid turret. And it's going to force SKT to have to try and defend here. Duke's going to come around the side. Bang should be able to have enough to protect it. Should just have the wave clear, but TSM will take it.
Oh, yeah, they barely get the turret in the air.
Barely getting it down. So TSM has a good shot call there. Take out the mid turret again. They get the mid turret first in both of the games that we've seen take place in this series, and they're playing around that pressure. So Svenskeren actually did buy them a lot of time there. He distracted SK Telecom so they could take an objective, and it ended up working out. Now, Blank and Wolf going in onto Yellow Star don't actually land the stun. TSM decides they want to fight right here. Svenskeren coming in for backup. And we just see the Braum ult just dissuade any kind of further action. Faker decides to go in, exhaust, but look at the side there. Duke dueling with Hansor, keeping him out of the fight, forcing the ultimate. And one thing about this Poppy build, so when Poppy is played into Fiora, as we watch the rest of this unfold, when Poppy is played into Fiora in Korea, we typically see the build be Iceborne Gauntlet and Sunfire Cape. And this build can actually out-duel Fiora at the 2-3 item point. Later in the game, that's not going to work, but it does stave off the split pushing for a little bit, and I've seen a lot of Poppies actually win this matchup when they itemize in this way. Does it help, obviously, be as tanky in team fights? No. Will it help against Bjergsen ganks? Not really, but it is effective in that 1v1.
And how, I mean, obviously it is Faker's Zed, but how relevant will it be towards the end? You can already see Bjergsen, he's getting that Zhonya's Hourglass in there. Expect to see the QSS coming out for double lift ASAP. We have seen Fiora's building it as well. Who will be the target later on? I mean, obviously, if he can get a carry, sure, great.
Janna, I think, will forever be a target, especially if her ult is down. There's not much you're going to be able to do. Fiora getting a QSS is going to be a very, very late item.
Yeah, be like a 4th, 5th.
So that may not be particularly relevant. I mean, Faker's been playing pretty...
Are you suggesting we won't reach the 4th or 5th item?
I think that may be a bit of a question mark here.
Faker going in on the Yellow Star again.
Speaking of which.
Finds him, yeah, and just too much damage. Faker gets exhausted. Fate's call, does it save him? I guess it does. Interesting. Faker gets hit with the gold card, though. Blank trying to save his mid laner, since Garen comes in for the execute anyway and gets out over to Bjergsen. So just a nice response from TSM yet again. SKT chasing, though. We'll see what they can get out of this.
Bang very close to catching the big rocket there onto Yellow Star. But, well, there you go. Fate's call saves him from the kill. Just, once again, that's actually 3 times double this is pulled into safety now.
And Faker's really been having a tough game on this set. He's not playing, he's not actually calculating his all-ins very well, and every time it seems he goes for one of these all-ins, he just doesn't quite have enough damage, or he's not taking into account that other members of TSM could be there. Had that Janna been alone, absolutely that would have been successful.
Oh, Duke all over Hansor right now. Already some damage. There's a turret hit as well. Hansor trying to get away. Janna, Whirlwind trying to save his top laner. Wow, Duke goes in anyway. There's the ultimate from Yellow Star, and it looks like Hansor's barely going to make it out. I got to say, Yellow Star's been making this Janna work so far.
Well, also Duke actually flashed unnecessarily there. So we're going to take a look at this duel once again, and Yellow Star is spinning, was getting very low with that ignite, and then there's the counter engage, Blank waiting, but the stun still goes off onto Faker, and Svenskeren manages to tag him with the Q and then get out with the safeguard.
Yeah, Blank really did everything he can. I mean, he knocked Bjergsen away right as he came in with the ultimate, but just a little bit too late to save Faker from all that damage.
Well, this Zed is not going to be particularly useful in the late game. Who exactly is he going to be split pushing against here, because he's fallen a little bit behind, and I'm also curious as to why he's not building an early Hex Drinker in this case. Obviously not going to be particularly useful in the split push when he goes up either against Hansor or Double Lift, but it is a bit, I think, cocky in the early game against this Twisted Fate not to be grabbing that item, but SKT applies the pressure with the package and the threat of the dive there with Corki and Zed, and they are able to take a turret advantage, and they have their sights set on another dragon.
Now, TSM fans will obviously be fairly excited by the prospect that 20 minutes in, once again, TSM are keeping up with SK Telecom. But we saw this in game 1, and this was very close. Uh-oh, well.
Oh, here we don't go.
He's actually going to get out alive. Yeah, he's got the little support. Svenskeren acting as the bouncer once again, protecting Yellow Star. Played very well, by the way, in this series so far. But this was a similar situation in game 1, and suddenly it just flicked. 4K differential suddenly kicked in over the space of 30 seconds, and TSM didn't read the situation where they'd lost out. How do they not fall into this trap again? I mean, SKT, they're just waiting for that moment. You're already seeing Faker trying to make the plays. I mean, Faker playmaker, that's what he does. Sooner or later, one of them's going to pay off.
Well, perhaps, but I think the counters have been there for TSM, and I don't think that they drafted as poorly as they did in the last game. This is a stronger scenario, and playing that Zed into the Janna is is bold, I will say that. I think it is a nice pick into the Twisted Fate, and we haven't seen Bjergsen have much of an effect this game with his ultimate. He hasn't been able to shut down anyone, but because Duke died early and now Hanser has that advantage, they've gotten kind of what they wanted out of this deal anyway. They have set up the Fiora, and it's up to Hanser to see really what they can do in this game when it comes to closure. TSM has not been a particularly strong team in the LCS when it comes to split pushing. That's not really their identity that we've seen, so they have to be very cautious about the plays they're going to be making, because that Zed dropping down, Hanser doesn't have a lot of, too many defensive stats right now can be dangerous.
Yeah, SK Telecom has a little bit of a lead right now still, but it's a very close game, and I mean, Bjergsen has that Zhonya's Hourglass now. That's going to make him even better at holding off any sort of all-in from Faker. Gives TSM a nice option to teamfight, getting Bjergsen in the backline if they need to.
I think that when TSM has to split push to close out this game, or they have to be able to get picks, because when we think about the team fight here, their only real form of engage, because the Janna is there instead of a melee support who can follow up on the Fate's call, is going to be Bjergsen sort of gating into the back line. And because they lack a lot of tankiness, with the disengage that SKT has from champions like Gragas and Poppy, they can just knock people immediately right back out of that fight. TSM is going to struggle in any kind of 5v5 scenario. TP going to be coming in, though.
Yeah, Duke coming in from the bottom. Let's see if they can catch anybody here. They're going for double lift. There's Faker onto double lift. He's in a lot of trouble right now. Faker comes in, should be able to get the kill. Meanwhile, Svenskeren gets caught in the jungle too, and SK Telecom, are they flipping the switch? Maybe. There's the Q, and Yellowstar pushes him away with the ultimate, but Bang will just knock ahead. There's the ult from Blank, and a double kill comes in for Bang. SK Telecom getting 3 for nothing right there.
Well, we've seen Double Lift be over-pushed a lot so far this tournament, and there wasn't the support there to actually help him out. Very good TP from Duke. They kind of converged on him from all sides. They had Faker right by the turret. They're going to go for a 21-minute Baron with 3 dead.
Seems ambitious, but yeah,
they can do it.
People dead.
Well, Hanser is here already. Svenskeren, everybody now respawning from TSM. This is going to have to be a very long delayed fight for TSM. They're buying enough time perhaps here. Grand challenge on Wolf, not really what Hanser was looking for. Bjergsen cut out. Zonya's going to go down. He's going to get picked off. Manages to flash away just about in time. Can he get another step? No, he can't. But the rest of TSM are now here.
Wow, yeah.
Svenskeren with a great kick, but the question is, have they got the damage follow-up? Double Lift arrives, tries to catch on towards Blank. He managed to kite the damage beautifully, and Faker arrives. Hanser and Yellowstar, the last two standing. The slow on Yellowstar means his demise is impending, and the Baron and the towers all going SKT's way.
Yeah, well, I think the switch got flipped there.
4 dead. This is going to be an inhibitor for sure, but coming into that Baron fight, that was absolutely the perfect time to turn from SKT. They didn't want to actually finish that Baron. They forced the fight on 2 members that are actually still up, with Bjergsen and Hanser still there. And by the time they've already chunked out Bjergsen and Hanser or killed them, it's the perfect time for the rest of TSM to start filtering in. And TSM just had to leave Bjergsen and Hanser there to die, because even though there was an impressive kick from
Bjergsen, goes in for the gold card onto Wolf. Bang is there to defend him, though. Hanser comes over the wall. They really want something. TSM just wants to get anything out of this. Oh, man, and the wild card doesn't even hit Faker on the recall. Looks like they'll get out okay. Yeah,
TSM, though, with the Baron going down, they just sort of filter in one by one to die. They had to let that one go. So many people had just been taken, so a very, very easy 21-minute Baron here for SK Telecom, and there's not really going to be, I think, any further response. As we take a look from this fight, I mean, Wolf just blocks everything right there, zones him out with his ultimate. Faker still threatening Bjergsen on the side, and they kill Baron and then turn instantly, and now Duke is going to be winning this matchup.
Yeah, he finds Hanser right there. There's the ultimate. Hanser will see if he can make it out. Yellowstar, oh, hello, Faker. Yeah. Well, that's not what you want to see come over the wall at you if you're a Janna. Hanser does escape. Blank takes some turret damage, but man, I mean, Yellowstar just got blown up in that tribe rush.
Yeah, Duke has the QSS now on the Poppy, so
that's a lot of damage.
Bye, Bjergsen.
Yeah, bye, Bjergsen.
Well, we talked about the switch flipping. It's now, what, 8,000 goal differential within, what, a space of 2 minutes?
SKT didn't just flip the switch. They just, like, yanked it right out of the wall and threw it out the window, man. No one's turning that switch off anymore.
Apparently
I don't know, man.
Handbrakes, nothing can stop them, it seems. First inhibitor second inhibitor, sorry, will be falling because the middle one's already down. And honestly, SKT, they could just keep pushing here. I don't think TSM are going to be able to deal with them. They're going to go in for the fight. There it is. Yellowstar caught out once again. The barrel comes down. Duke just flies on through. Faker going deep, in and out. Damage done. Duke just around the side there. Oh, Svenskeren, and he tries to make the play, but instead it just launches him to his death in SKT's favor. Third inhibitor of the game going down, and TSM on the cusp of going out of the tournament.
Well, nice body slam from Blank. Slows up Hanser for just a moment. Duke is so low, but he throws Bjergsen into the inhibitor, and there is nothing inhibiting SKT right now from finishing this game. There goes double lift. There goes the inhibitor. They don't even need it. They can just go right for the Nexus turrets. And at sub 25 minutes, SK Telecom gonna put a period on the end of this sentence, man. They're going to take this series 2-0. There goes Hanser. There goes the Nexus. And SK Telecom are going to the finals of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships as soon as they finish off the Nexus. And there it goes. GG.
Well, Coach Como confidently predicted this. We've never lost to them before. Why should it happen now? And very much proving SK Telecom are definitely the team to beat here. We expected it coming in, and they proved it without beyond a shadow of a doubt there. 8-0-6 in the end for Bang. Confident performance. Once again, Blank, by the way, 1-0-10. Another brilliant performance. We talked about it everywhere Svenskeren went. Blank was sat in the bushes waiting for him.
Yeah, just a very smooth performance from SKT. TSM got a couple of ganks off, but you could just see that SK Telecom, their teamwork on the map and the way that they can play around these objectives is just vastly superior to what we're seeing out of TSM at this stage. That said, I do think TSM improved over the course of this tournament. They certainly had a stronger early game than I expected coming into this event, but it's just not even close between these two teams. SK Telecom, a pretty clear winner.
I mean, it's just more of the same from SKT, right? I mean, yeah, Faker can die a few times in the early game, but it just doesn't seem to matter what happens in the first 15, 20 minutes of this game when SKT groups up. When they get together, they can just take it.
I mean, that's the evolution of a superstar, really. You know, you expect to be focused, and he certainly does. They tried it very hard in game one, all over them. An embrace there between Bjergsen and Faker, and the rest of TSM, of course. It's an expected journey, an expected end for the former Intel Extreme Masters World Champions. Have they just gone out to the current one? That we'll find out. It's going to be SKT in the finals. Let's get over to Shox on stage.
What do you think between the two of them?
Well, I'm on stage, but we weren't supposed to be cute, so I suggest we throw it over to the expert desk to let them talk about this game before we get set up here. Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm happy to talk if the players are still
Always
getting
happy
ready.
to talk.
Welcome back to the expert desk, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I think expected result. SKT, despite going even, despite Faker maybe being a little eager in the early stages of the game, once they found their groove and their rhythm, they just, you know, became unlocked and took down TSM, Crepo.
Yeah, just a little shaky in the early game. Sadly, for the sake of the game, we didn't see TSM match that lane swap that came out initially, because I think that's where a lot of potential gains were lost for TSM, because that Janna matchup, obviously with the range advantage, the all attacks, the little NATO pokes that can come out, can bully the Braum early, and Wolf had a really big impact on the map, kind of running around, placing some vision later on as the map opened up. So I think that's where TSM kind of, you know, lost some momentum.
Pull the first replay up, guys, because it was a tower dive, talking about some momentum and seeing how TSM attempted to make a play in the top lane. Roll this clip out and talk me through maybe some of the thought process here.
I mean, we see a 3-man defense in phase 2 of the lane swap, and
there's not
historically that's been punished every single time, but TSM can't make it work.
The problem is, again, you're waiting for your mid laner to roam up so the other mid laner can follow, and you're now diving 4v5, and your support is a Janna. And Yellowstar actually makes a really big mistake here, taking early tower aggro, while his team is not even in position. So he's technically out of the fight before it even starts, by him going and poking slightly against Braum, against Poppy, against Gragas, all are very beefy champions. I think it's a super risky dive, but like this lane swap, it was... SKT messed it up at first because they didn't take the tower when they had the chance. They actually got super delayed on that. But then Hanser pushed his bottom lane. That meant he lost his lane to sit and farm, so he couldn't get an advantage over Poppy. Normally, he would freeze the wave and just pick up a lot of farm, and then Poppy would be forced to recall instantly, so she wouldn't get anything, and he would have an advantage for Hanser. But he pushed it out, recalled, and then he had to like run top and set up this weird play.
And now, though, we have to praise SKT for their adaptation. They haven't always done the lane swaps properly. They were late on the tower, but then they went for that bold move, the defense. When I saw the play initially, I was like, I like this from SKT. Then I saw the teleport come in, and I was like, should I like this play? I don't really know, but it worked out for them. I got a 10-15 CS lead to delay the 2v2 matchup a little more. By the time Doublelift and Yellowstar faced off against Wolfenbank, Corki was already level 6, and at that point, the matchup kind of shifts over because the Corki can kind of hold his own 1v2 with Rocket Poke.
Yeah, definitely was the case. Bang ended up finishing that game with a ridiculous damage to champions. He finishes 8-0-6. Continues to pad his stats, if we can use that term. Let's pull up the second replay that we've got. It was, again, the turning point. One gigantic mistake, call from TSM, gets punished by SKT. This was in the bottom lane, and Doublelift is really extended. If you look at the minimap, you'll see that Duke is about to start teleporting.
But also look at the minimap and see where Hansa is on the map. Like, he's so far back, he's about to push out top lane. So they're trying to push out all 3 lanes at once, and then the plan is to rotate to the lane where Doublelift is and have 4-man pushing in. Problem is, your top laner is not in a position to actually apply any threat, so he's too far back. And also, you're a Kalista with no QSS against the Zed. So like, even without TPs or anything, Doublelift is just gonna die 1v1 to Zed here.
Yeah, and so aside from the early game where when kind of equal, this play entirely loses the game for me, for TSM. This is why we have like the SKT in the mid game, that kind of Rock Lee style, takes off the training weights, drops it on the floor, and is like, okay, fight me now, because that's just what happens, because TSM just open up the map entirely here. Like, their AD carry is split pushing alone. Their top laner has no clue that he has to follow up. He's not in position. Suddenly the support's like, I'm helping.
Yeah.
Everybody gets caught. You lose the map, you lose the Baron, and then everything starts falling down.
The correct play here would have to, or would have been put Kalista mid lane. She had Hurricane completed. She can push the waves very fast, and then have your Hourglass TF on bottom side, because he can actually survive 1v1 against that, or at least, you know, kind of hold him, and then you can move between lanes.
Coulda, shoulda,
I know.
woulda, and unfortunately it isn't the case. SKT win the series 2-0. Shox is now ready with the players on stage.
Yeah, thank you very much, Trevor. Indeed, we are now ready, and we are joined by Bang, who had an incredible series once again in the tournament so far. Our guys were talking a lot about the bottom lane matchups. You guys had standard lanes in 2 games, and I want to ask you about playing versus Doublelift and Yellowstar, a duo only been together since this year. What did you think when you played against them?
일단 더블리프트 선수 같은 경우에는 제가 대회에서 처음 만나봤는데 그 전부터 제가 좀 동경했던 선수여서 이제서야 만나서 좀 즐거웠고, 그 옐로스타 선수 같은 경우에는 저희가 작년 월드 챔피언십 때 되게 많이 했었거든요. 그 연습 경기를. 그래서 되게 반가웠어요. 그리고 실력은 여전하시더라고요. 되게 잘했어요, 되게.
They're both players that he respects very much, and so he really wanted to play against them, and so it was nice to be able to finally play against the duo together. And Yellowstar is a player that he's played against before while he was on Fnatic because of last year, and it was really nice to meet him again because he feels that Yellowstar is a very good player.
Very respectful of that bottom lane, but you guys did do very good, and it seemed that you guys really went in at certain times in the moment and completely took over the game. The synergy seems to be working really well, with Blank coming in as well. What's your opinion on how everything is gelling in the team right now?
일단 저희가 LCK에서 딱히 어느 선수의 문제점만이 아니라 저희가 전체적으로 잘 못했었기 때문에 이제 다시 마음을 가다듬고 와서 다시 반등할 기회로 삼아서 다 열심히 해서 그냥 전체적으로 기량이 올라온 것 같아요.
전체적으로 뭐?
기량이 올라온 것 같아요.
He says, you know, there's not one player that we can say is lesser, you know, not as good or whatever. It's just all together. While they're playing in the LCK, they felt that there was no synergy. But here, as they've been playing, it's just all kind of coming together.
Well, it definitely seems so, and that makes that you guys are in the grand final for that cup right there. Yesterday, we asked your coach Como who he thought would come out of Group B. He said Xiaogu. In the end, it was Fnatic winning. Who do you think you will face in the final? Will it be Fnatic or RNG, and why?
일단 그 예선에서 RNG가 좀 더 좋은 모습을 보여줬기 때문에, 그리고 푸나틱이 어제 좀 많은 경기를 치르면서 지쳐 있을 것 같아서 네, RNG가 올라오지 않을까.
He said, I think in the qualifiers, RNG played quite well, and also Fnatic played a lot of games yesterday, so they might be a little mentally drained right now. So considering that maybe RNG was going to be the ones to make it to the finals.
All right, we will see how it plays out. Thank you very much, Bang. Congratulations, SKT in the finals. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Shox. And yeah, congratulations to SKT. I think a fairly expected performance. They really showed up and dismantled TSM in every single way. The picks and bans, the champion pool was a big weakness for TSM, and it's something they're going to have to really look at if they want to take a lot away from this as they progress in the NALCS.
Yeah, the only concern is, like, some players will be limited to only play specific amount of champions on the highest level. And like, again, if we look at Yellowstar, guy we talked about over and over, he obviously is the main guy who needs to expand. I just want to see him use Braum a lot more and like have it as a super high priority because I think he's very good at playing these team fighting supports normally, and I want to see that pick for him.
Yeah, in the last game though, SKT kind of helped make the Janna pick work.
Yeah.
By picking some things like a Gragas, where a reset would be very much appreciated on the side of TSM. Sadly, I think game 1 SKT kind of took slow control and choked the life out of TSM. I think game 2 it was actually just TSM screwing up because they were in the game. They had the potential to like manipulate the waves, to push the side lanes, then group up somewhere, maybe make a pick here and there. But that one play where the double lift pushes in the side lane, it's just that for me spells out that there is no one man like with the overview, with the shot calling, saying, okay guys, this is the plan, this is what we're gonna do, because they weren't at all incorporating into their thought process what SKT could do. They were all missing on the map.
Just I think all killing AD carry.
Yeah, 4 or 5 of them in Fog of War. I wonder. One more wave, guys.
Well, is there anybody that can stop Bang? Because he is looking phenomenal in every single game, every single comp, every single scenario.
Well,
I mean, he is being enabled by his team.
No, he's just really good as well.
But he's also incredibly
fantastic
good.
player.
I mean, the two teams who's going to play now, RNG and Fnatic, have both either ran with super strong dual lanes from the players. If you look at RNG with Mata in there being a strong laner, or you pick like a Jhin for Fnatic and actually put so much focus on getting like a Jhin Thresh combo and have strong 2v2.
Well, I know we're going to start talking about these teams in just a few minutes. I don't want to do it right now. We're going to head to an ad break, and when we return, Fnatic will take on Royal Never Give Up.
My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down. Never gonna break one bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. Time goes by in a moment. Can't blink now, only got one shot. It's all I need, gonna own it. Running to the top now, I won't stop.